Hello Epic 7, and welcome to day number 3 of Ancient Inheritance. Sorry this video is a little bit late, it's been a very busy day for me. But here is your relatively complete map of Flor number 2. This map will be available in the description of the video, of course, and once again, here's the pathing and strategies we used on Flor number 2. Here is a preview of Flor number 3, and here are our marching orders for Flor number 3 as well. Floor number 3 is small, especially when you compare it to what floor number 3 looked like last season. Floor number 3 is substantially smaller with way less loot. That has us concerned that floor 4 will likewise be small, and if you rush floor 3 without collecting the loot, you might not be able to buy the shop out with what's left on floor 4. We'll know more for sure when we see floor 4, but for right now, I'm encouraging people to collect loot on floor number 3, especially if you get there in the first week of Ancient Inheritance. Now, let's jump into the first fight. The first fight we're going to show is a Cold Eye Lich team. Now, the Cold Eye Lich has a special passive where if he's attacked by non-water units, he does a lot more damage. So you want to run an Earth team. Now this is a guildmate's team. He didn't have many units left, so we cobbled together the best team that we could. We're going to run Rin for defense breaks, Mui for target debuffs, and Mui is actually our principal damage dealer, as well as Destina for healing and raise. Hindsight being 2020, Destina should have gone in the back. You don't necessarily want your raise unit to be tanking. And Kitty Clarissa for dual attacks, so we figured, yeah, she'll take extra damage, but hopefully Destina and Rin together being weavers can keep up with that. We're counting on Rin to be our defense breaker. Hopefully that works out. I see she gave herself greater attack buff, and she gave a destruction buff to Destina, and that's great. My his two soul weavers have damage debuffs instead of the DPS units. Lovely. Anyway, Mui is really an underrated unit. Her S3 gives everybody attack buff, and it gives herself, or it gives the highest attack unit on the team, the enhanced dual attack skill. Now, I had it in my head that enhanced dual attack isn't wasted by natural dual attack, so I recommended you use this, and I was totally wrong. It wasted the enhanced dual attack, so he should have just S1'd there and transformed Kitty next round, so that misplay was kind of on me. Mui's S2 does some bleeds, which is nice. Hey, we got a dual attack anyway. Unfortunately, it was with the Soul Weaver. And the damage starts stacking up, and the healing starts going down. More dual attacks. Kitty's dual attack imprint is paying off. No defense break from Rin. It's a 75% chance to defense break. Rin's hit 3 times and missed all 3 75% defense breaks. Nobody's really that hurt, so we're going to use the S2 on Kitty Clarissa to try to get some more damage on the board. We're trying to rush this thing down. Hopefully we have enough damage to finish off. That is the 4th 75% chance to defense. Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. The defense breaks on the S2. But she missed it on the S2, so, man. Bad luck on this team. Whew, the Lich is starting to hit extra hard now. We've only done 200k damage. Soul burn for the big heal. Let's see if we can get some damage buffs on our DPS units. Hey, we got destruction and gab on the soul weavers again, and defensive buffs on the DPS units. This is going swimmingly, everybody. Yeah. Transform Kitty, try to get a little bit more damage on the board. We'll heal ourselves and CR push around in case we need the big heal, which we probably will here. Target debuff. Yikes, that hit way harder than I expected. You see, if Destina was in the back, she could raise everybody. Everybody would still have the lower defense, but Destiny would still have the lower defense, but everybody else would come back with that reset. So if you can raise your team from death, it's kind of like when you first come in, where the stacks aren't built up. So you get a breath of fresh air, and you can actually rack up some extra points. So he only had a little sliver of health left. We just recommended that they hang out and wait for somebody else to come through and kill the cold Eye Lich rather than wasting a secondary hit. Actually, it looks like the Dub is hitting it now. Let's see. Got 170k damage so far. Is he still hitting it? I think he might have failed. Nah, that's too low of a score for Dub. I'm sure he's still in there. Come on. Show me that score move. 225. He's doing it. He's doing it. Okay. Warden is down. So that lets everybody make a rush for the priest on floor number 2. So we will jump ahead to the priest fight. So this is one of my favorite priest teams. You've seen me use it before. The only difference is we didn't have Kitty Clarissa since we used her in the last fight. So we're going to use Sinful Angelica in place of Kitty Clarissa. You could also use Camilla as an alternate. This team should score pretty good. Warriors are decent level. You want to make sure all of your units that can wear debuffing artifacts are wearing debuffing artifacts. And we're going to be relying on Mediator Queric for the strip. So we need him to stay alive. We've got no real healer outside of Sinful Angelica, and Sinful Angelica is not much of a healer unless you have a healing artifact on her, and in this situation I believe my guildmate has her on Prophetic Candlestick, so we really don't have any healing at all. We're going to rely on the barriers to stay alive. So the first thing we want to do is activate the S3 for Vigor. The reason is this puts Vigor on Fire Ken, which lets him have a Ignore ER defense break on his S2. Guess there's no reason to save it. We'll go ahead and S3 to power everybody up and get more dual attacks on the board. Oh, you know what? There is a reason. His first attack strips, and it could strip the attack buff off everybody, and more importantly, it could theoretically strip the immortality off of Singelica. So we're going to hold off one round on that. It's okay to use this early. This puts barriers up so we take negative damage here. There we go. Ken's got Vigor, so this is a guaranteed defense break. It ignores ER with Vigor. So there's our defense break. And hopefully we duel with Ken. Hey, nice. Now it's safe to put this up, because we're going to be putting up immunity with Mediator Queric. I know it's double dipping on the attack, but we're doing this more for the dual attacks than for the attack buff. So everybody is now attack buffed. And no, we don't want to burn this. There we go. Now everybody is really attack buffed, but more importantly immunity, because this attack would put defense break and seal on your whole team, and you want to avoid that. May as well rip the big damage shot into him while he's got a defense break up. How hard's this hit? Nice, 55k damage. We're going to use the S2 just to give barriers. It'll help keep Mediator Queric alive. He's the most hurt on the team, and we need him to be alive to strip. So we use the S2. I'd really like to dual attack into that defense break, but the smart thing is to get the barriers up and make sure the team survives. Right now he's arguing with me that he would really rather attack, and I'm telling him, like, look, you can't have Queric die. I know he's got high health, but you can't have him die, so put the barriers up. And thankfully he listens. Sinful got an extra attack in anyway. We're having really good luck that we're dragging Fire Ken with us on almost every random dual attack. Oh, no, this is bad. If we bury her now, we've got no way to strip. So hopefully we survive this. I think Sinful Angelica is just dead. We can S3 for Vigor, but unfortunately the barrier is going to go on Mediator Queric. It's not going to go on Sinful Angelica. If it did, it would keep her alive, but this barrier will head to Queric. So we've got enough debuffs that will survive, but I think even with the lower damage coming in, Sinful Angelica is going to take the get killed, so we just go ahead and dual attack for extra damage. Oh, Singelica lived. Oh no, but with poison. She has like 170 ER on this team, and she's the one unit that got poisoned. And Queric's tuning is off. If we S2, she stays alive, but if we do it, we've got no way to strip the counters. Oh, this is a mess. Okay, so we burn. This will give us a refresh on the defense break, and all we need is one more 2-turn burn. We got it, so we are good to push phase. We'll S2 here. Hopefully Singelica cuts and she survives that poison and can get her S3 off, but I think... Oh, her S3 isn't ready. Candlestick never procced. That's sad. Bye, Sinji. Oh, disaster. Ken is going before Mediator Queric. We have no way to strip the counter buff, and Ken is not going to survive this. This was a sloppy mess of a fight. It was the right team, it was the right strategy, but the tuning was just all wrong, and luck was not on our side. That kills Ken. We're able to strip, but without our DPS, we're not going to do a lot more damage, but we still run it. Get some extra hits in. Put the immunity up because we use souls because we got nothing else to use the souls on. This gives us immunity so that this will not put seal or defense break on us. Run one more hit in. Lilius can S3. She could S2 for a barrier, except she exploded. S2 does more damage, so may as well rip that, and we should get one last hit off of Queric. You know what, though? As disastrous as that was, for not having a DPS for the second half of the fight, 560k damage is pretty impressive. If we'd kept Fire Ken alive somehow, we probably would have easily been in the 700 to 800k range, which would have been a fantastic score for Priest number 2. Now we'll slide on over to the right-hand side where Divine Faker is on the gold team, and he is going to be tackling this Gargoyle. The Gargoyle is a real pain of a fight, but we want to take it down because the epic chest is behind it. Now, one of the best units you can have for the Gargoyle fight is Rowana, because the Gargoyle is loaded with extra attacks. The longer the fight goes on, the harder he hits. And there is a cheese with it where if you can manage to raise your entire team, then they all come back with the stacks reset. So you'll be able to basically double your score if you can manage a raise. But raise is tough with Rowana's raise skill because it is strippable. A good cheese for it is using Rowana and Destina. You put Rowana in the front, Destina in the back. Destina has enough ER on her that the... raise debuff doesn't get stripped, and then she can raise the entire team when she herself comes back to life from the raise. It is really, really hard to time. It takes crackerjack timing to do it. I don't recommend it. You can burst the Gargoyle down in 4 or 5 attacks, so your team of 2 to 3 people should still be able to do it. They just may need a couple attacks. Now this Gargoyle is an ice one, so we're taking green DPS units. We're going to use Euphine because Euphine has got a defense break on her S1 and a strip on her S2, which is nice because the Golem does self-buff itself, including immunity, so it's good to be able to peel that away. We're going to use a Camilla and Conqueror Lilies for dual attacks and defense breaks as well, and Rowana, of course, tanking the hits for us. So, for reference, the gold team has got warrior soul weavers covered and one person running thieves and warriors without soul weavers. So that's a eclectic bunch of people, but they know what they're doing and they've been doing a good job clearing these fights so far. Now, when we get to the next floor where there are golems and banshees, those units can all be soloed with specialty units, mostly knights, warriors, and mages. So I'll establish a secondary team to go after those mini bosses on the next floor. And by team, I mean probably just one person. Heck, it may even be me. Anyway, Divine's just reviewing the skills, then he goes in for the attack. Camilla being a higher attack than Euphine. Interesting. So oh, no, it wasn't higher attack. Sorry. It's late. I'm tired. That was just a random dual attack with her. We do have the defense break, and that extra attack is why Rowana is so great in this fight. The extra attack heals your team, and CR pushes you up. We're using the S3, which used to do extra damage when the enemy was buffed, and also used to strip, but the changes to Euphine made it so the extra damage is only when the boss is silenced. He's immune to silence, and it doesn't strip anymore, so the buffs to Euphine really hard nerfed her in Ancient Inheritance. She's not the unit she used to be. But she does still have a defense break on her S1 and does still strip with her S2, so it was worth giving her a shot here. There's an extension on the defense break. Benimar's Tachi procs, so we can get our dual attack off. No reason to burn it. I think you got the swing of this fight. There's not much more to it. Just lather, rinse, repeat. We'll go ahead and skip ahead to the end. Okay, so 533k damage is pretty good. It's over 30% of the Gargoyle's bar with just one unit. So, in theory, two other hitters running the same team should be able to clear it. A fourth hitter would definitely clear it. Next on the gold team, Okami jumped into the fight. Now, Okami, instead of using Euphine, decided to try ML Bologna. He figured with all of the extra attacks, the double hits that the Gargoyle was doing, that ML Bologna might be able to do double strikes, and his goal was to do better than Divine Faker's score. It really is the same team strategically, just dual attack using Camilla to give attack buff, and hoping for defense breaks on Camilla while Bologna just stacks up big damage. We'll go ahead and jump to the end of this fight so we can see how well he did. And though it was a great strategy and the team did rather well, he got very unlucky on defense breaks, and because of just not sticking a lot of defense breaks, he didn't quite catch up to Divine on score. So the third and final person who's going to hit this is Baka with his Thief team. Now the team Baka built has Sinful Angelica for dual attacks and also tank. He has her on Prophetic Candlestick. I'm a little worried about her being up front, especially in this fight, but hopefully with Prophetic Candlestick, her immunity or immortality stays. We're going to use an Evasion Rylet, standard Rylet build. Hopefully he will be a solid damage dealer, especially dual attacking with Singelica. We should build stacks quickly on him, and with all the evasions, he should clap extra damage. Talia is freakishly good in Ancient Inheritance. She has a defense break on her S1, she has thick barriers on her S2, really, and she has a strip plus buff block on her S3, which will keep the Gargoyle from buffing himself. And of course, Rowana is about the best healer you can have for this fight. So Prophetic Candlestick is proccing, so that's good. We're going to try to get the defense break. Hey, did better than Rin already with the defense breaks. Dual attack with Rylet. Now we're going to strip the attack buff and try to apply buff block. Got the strip and the buff block. That's fantastic. I really like this Talia unit. Her kit looks so bad, but she is actually busted good if you're running thieves in Ancient Inheritance. I had no idea when this started. She wasn't even on my recommended list, so it's kind of nice to read through these seldom used 3 stars and see if they're actually good in this content. Using the S3 to heal up and build some souls, because why not? Re-establish the defense break with Talia's S1. Rylet's doing pretty good damage. We're up to 131k already. Another defense break from Talia. Making the most of that 50% defense break. Is it 50 or 75? Anyway, her S1 having a defense break on it is really nice for a thief. Defense break is not something that's popular amongst thieves. You got Talia, you got Green Sid, and that's conditional. I'm sure there's a couple others I'm missing. Nice big hit from Rylet. S3 to strip and buff block again. We got the strip, but we didn't get buff block. That's a little unfortunate. He gives himself speed buff and attack buff again. Damage is starting to ramp up here. Oh no. Immortality is dropped on Sinful. I hope she can tank this hit. God, with attack buff though, gonna be rough. Oh good, it was his ultimate that went off, so it wasn't a dedicated strong hit into her. Maybe she'll be able to cut and get her immortality back up again. Okay, burning there was a misplay. If we hadn't burned, then Singelica, he wouldn't have pushed up and Singelica could have gotten her skill off. That's unfortunate. I think this run would have gone further if we could have gotten Singelica's skill up. We would have at least gotten one more rotation out of it. Talia strips with her S3, apply buff blocks, try to get rid of this attack and speed buff. Once again, we strip everything but the important one. The immunity's still there. I don't think we're going to live much past this. And Baka is going to do what he can to finish up this fight, but I think we're going to end somewhere around 370, 360 damage. So they are going to need a third attack, and unfortunately we only have 3 people on the gold team, so one of them is going to have to dedicate an extra attack to killing this gargoyle. It's making me wonder if maybe we shouldn't put a 4th person on the gold team for floor number 3. We'll figure that out later. You got to decide on your own based on how well your teams are performing. Talk to them, get some feedback. Ask your gold team members, do you need more bodies or do you have it covered? Now Baka jumped back in, whipped out a real quick thief team. He just threw it together what he had. Payra for strips and buff block, Kisei for damage, and Sid for defense breaks, and Angelica was about the best he could do for healing. I think you can all see how this fight goes. Payra continues the defense break and uses her barrier plus escort to reduce the damage to the team, while Angelica tries to stay ahead of the healing. Sid is our source of defense break, as long as he doesn't get his speed buff stripped. And Kisei does Kisei things. All in all, it was enough to finish taking out the gargoyle and progress us into the guild chest area, so they collected the guild chest. And in the meantime, I moved my account up to engage the priest. Now, before we jump into priest fights, let's go ahead and talk about journeying on floor number 2. I still am a firm believer that floor number 2, the chests, and unless you need a bump to get you leveled up, the fights are just not worth doing. Save all that for floor 3. I am going to slide to the left over here because 1, there's a teleport, and 2, there is a knight statue. I took a look at this relic shrine and realized that I don't have room for any relics, and I didn't want to risk replacing what I had, so we're skipping the relic shrine. The XP book is already at its max uses, so I can't grab that. Don't worry, I'm not grabbing the gold chest. Just happen to be walking past it because I'm sliding up here to grab this knight. And a scroll. Okay, you know what? I'm only going to be fighting the priest today, and that takes very specific units. So I'm going to go ahead and do this fight because I can usually get away with 2 units in these fights because the scroll fights are usually very easy. So I'm going to use Luna because I don't plan on using her later. And I'm going to use, let's see, who can back her up? You know what, I'm going to use Ross. I know there's ice units over there, but Ross will dual attack with Luna, maybe give some defense break. Actually, no, Lilius. Lilius is even better. Lilius will always dual attack with Luna. And I can give her an attack buff. And that's it. 2-man teams are usually enough if you take decent units. Hopefully they're enough. Yeah, look at that damage. This will be over quickly. I don't think you guys need to see this whole fight, right? Okay, we jump to the end where that fight was handled easily. I mean, Lilius almost died, but Luna would have carried. Now, this knight statue, look how close my EXP is in the bottom left-hand corner. And try to ignore the red dot in the upper left-hand corner. I didn't notice it until I started recording now, but that red dot was from all of the mini-bosses and wardens that have been killed, and that would have given me enough experience points to level. I didn't notice it, so instead I paced back and forth in front of this statue, wasting provisions just to get my level up, so that I can enhance my class and max out my knights before I grab the statue. Now that my knights are max level, I mean, they're level 6, and my exploration level is level 6. You cannot increase a class higher than your exploration level. My warriors are cheated up. They're actually level 6, but I'm getting the +1 from the Wulf Gauntlet, and that's why it's reading 7. The +1 is already factored into that. Now I use the knight statue, and now I've got level 7 warriors because of the Wulf Gauntlet, and level 7 knights because of the statue. Now I can go ahead and use the teleport. Make sure you put a marker on the teleport that's closest to the priest. It really helps the guild know where to go. Okay, so we've got an open spot since we leveled on the relics, so I'm going to slide to the right. There's a relic over there by Dub, and hopefully we get a good one. Something nice, please. I'm not opening treasure chests yet. Oh, you know, I'll take 14 provisions. That'll help me out. Okay. Now with 39 provisions, I've got enough extra I can slide over and grab the scroll before we hit it. Please don't be another fight. I don't want to risk the wrong 2 units becoming inactive, so I'll just take this middle one. Alrighty then, enough stalling, let's go up and do this priest fight. I'm going to demonstrate 2 priest teams. First, I'm going to use my standard go-to team that I still think is probably the highest scoring priest team out there. And then I'm going to try a knight team. Knights traditionally have been a little hard to use versus the priest, but hopefully I can find a way forward. But first, Conqueror Lilius if you have her, Mediator Coeric, Fire Ken, and we'll put Camilla on the team. Actually, I'm going to use Kitty Clarissa this time. Kitty Clarissa has a strip on her S2, and that might actually help us progress further. Now, this is the same fight as earlier in the video, just my units are slightly higher level, so we'll go ahead and skip all of this. The details of the fight are covered pretty well in the earlier fight. And unfortunately, it wasn't the cleanest fight for me. I had some bad luck when it came to getting rid of the counter, and I wound up only getting 540,000 points. Still very respectable for the Flor 2 priest, but I think I could have pushed it a lot higher. But let's try a knight team. I'm going to use Falconer Clury. Falconer Clury with Love Potion, which is available from the Book of Memory side stories, is actually a fantastic healer for this. I'm going to use Landy because, hey, I just think she's an amazingly good unit. Almost as good in PvE as she is in PvP. I'm taking Camilla because I hadn't used her yet in good dual attacks. Could definitely use Ross in place of Camilla. And in fact, I should have not used Ross. I should have used Cecilia. I completely forgot about Cecilia. Cecilia has a lot of debuffs in her kit. She's got attack down, she's got slow, she's got a strip in her kit which could help with the transition phase. I wouldn't have to rely on Flurry's strip. She's got defense breaks on her S1 skill. She gives immunity on her S3. I use Cecilia everywhere, and I totally spaced on her value in this fight. I'm really wishing that I had ditched Ross and taken Cecilia, or even ditched Camilla and taken Cecilia. Would have been a much higher scoring fight, wouldn't have had as many problems. Also, I believe Yunryung's kit is also really good for this. I need to read it again, but if I remember right, she has a lot of similar skills to Mediator Queric, so she might be a knight variant of Mediator Queric, which would be really useful. Anyway, of course, 15% being what it is, my Falconer Clury gets resisted on her S3 defense break. Okay, I did the S3 on Camilla because I didn't want her attack buff to be stripped with no other way to give her attack buff. I'm waiting till next round to S2 with her so that I can start. We're gonna burn Ross. Hey, we got a defense break. Very nice. Landy can throw the boat, give herself an attack buff. Whew, that was a lot of damage. And another 23k. Flurry is sealed, so she's not healing, so we need to fix that. And I have no way to do it. I did not think this through. I have no way to cleanse the seal or the defense break, and because the seal is on the one unit where it matters, I have no source of healing. If I had brought Cecilia, Flurry would be wearing immunity and she would not be sealed, and this fight would not have gone as poorly as it is. So I think this is a great team. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but take Cecilia. She fixes all these problems. Man, poor Flurry. I had such high hopes for her. Okay, Seal's gone, so she will actually start healing now. Will it be enough? With the Love Potion, that was a 1600 health. She would have kept this team so healthy without that seal. I'm going to use this team next time, and we'll see how well it does. I'm just going to S3 here to do more damage. Her S3 hits pretty hard. I've got no dual attack. Oh. Looks like I decided to S1. Not sure why. Trying to save Flurry's S3 because I'll need it to strip. But we've only got one debuff right now. We've got the attack down. And Ras can't dual attack because I didn't burn his skill, so we have no source of defense break. I'm hinging everything on Camilla cutting and getting a double hit off. Camilla is not going to cut. And that's an attack down and a defense break, and I am one debuff short. Unfortunate, unfortunate. Very good team in its bones. Just, I didn't take the best units for it, but the concept was there, and I think I'll be able to use it to make some really, really good scoring teams in the future. So I hopefully will be giving lies to the thought that knights are not good in Ancient Inheritance. I'm going to find a way to make them work, and make them work well, and hopefully we'll see more of that on floor number 3. In the meantime, while I was away, the rest of my guild killed the priest. And that's great, because that lets me advance to floor number 3. Now, I don't really have any provisions left. I got 12 provisions, but let's go ahead and just get placed and do some movements. I've decided I will be the blue team for floor number 3, because I'm working on knights and I plan to raise mages as well. I am really well positioned to deal with the cheese teams. Roy can solo the golem. Chaos Inquisitor, a knight, can solo the golem as well. I'll demo both of those. And I believe Fire Ravi can solo the Banshee, and I'm focusing warriors as well, so I'm a one-man wrecking crew, so I'm going to be handling the blue team all by myself. I don't make it very far, kind of out of provisions, so you know what? Maybe if I grab this book, I'll level up. And then I'll have more provisions. There we go. And I got 5 provisions, so you should get more than 5 provisions when you level up Smilegate. That's kind of bad. It's kind of bad to use an item that costs 5 provisions so that you can get 5 provisions. Just saying. So I guess tomorrow we will grab this treasure chest and maybe that scroll. I really think you need to do some looting on this floor. So spend 3, maybe 4 days on floor number 3 collecting the loot. In the meantime, we've got a Ancient Inheritance item to level. Now, you guys brought me a lot of good luck with the boot. Let's see if you bring me good luck here, and it is a minimum defense roll. Guys, you can do better than that. Okay, a 6, 8. That was an 8, right? Yeah, that was an 8. We take that. And a minimum speed roll. Okay, 2 minimums and an 8. We're still doing okay, because it's hitting the right stats. Okay, a 4 speed. That's not bad. And if we can dodge attack and crit chance, I think this will be a very functional Weaver or Knight piece. Even crit chance, I could use it for an HP scaling bruiser. I could just change attack to crit damage. Just gotta dodge attack. Don't hit attack. Give me big numbers. Another minimum roll, but it's into speed. You know what? Score-wise, this is really low, but it focused on 2 stats that I wanted to focus it on. This is a functional piece. It's not going to blow anybody away on gear score, but it is a usable piece, and I am happy with that. So, hopefully this video was enjoyable. You got a little something out of it. Promise floor 3 will be more interesting. We're going to have some unique comps and builds and strategies. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Jump in my Discord if you have any questions or need any support. It's getting a little bit deep into Ancient Inheritance, but you still have time to get into a decent guild to push good rewards. If you need help with that, jump in my Discord, check out the recruitment hall, and you guys have a great rest of your week. See you tomorrow, everybody.